Okay. So, once there was a widow, and she lived with two daughters. One daughter was pretty and very industrious, very hard-working, and the other daughter was ugly and lazy. But the widow had a preference for the ugly and lazy daughter because she was her very own daughter, and the pretty and hard-working girl, she was her stepdaughter. So the two of them, the ugly, lazy daughter and the stepmother, made the pretty girl do all the chores in the house. She was like their regular Cinderella. And each day she was made to sit outside next to the well and spin until her fingers bled. One day she was doing her spinning and she spilled blood onto the spindle. So she put the spindle into the well to wash it, but it dropped into the well and it disappeared. She was very worried about this. She ran to her stepmother weeping and said what had happened, and the stepmother was very cross, and she said, "Go away from here and find the spindle. You dropped it into the well. Don't come back. I don't want to see your face until you bring that spindle back." So with a heavy heart she jumped into the well and she sank down and down until she lost consciousness. When she woke up, she was in another world. She was lying in the meadow, in this meadow that was full of beautiful wildflowers. The sun was beating down on her. It was a lovely day, and she decided to have a walk. She walked across the meadow and she came upon a baker's oven full of bread, and the bread called out to her, take me out, I'm going to burn in here, I'll go to cinders." So this is what she did. One by one she took each of the loaves out and put them on the side. She carried on walking, and she came to an apple tree, and the apple tree called out to her, "Help, shake me, all my apples are ripe." So she went to the apple tree and she shook it really hard, and all the apples rained down, and she tidied them all into a neat heap and went on her way. Now, after some time she came to a cottage with an old woman sitting outside of it, and the old woman had very large teeth. She looked quite weird, and she was frightened. She went to run away, but the old woman called out to her and she said, "Don't run away, don't be frightened, come back, talk to me." So she went back to talk to her, and the woman was kindly, and she said, "If you stay here and work for me and be my maid, I'll reward you handsomely, I'll look after you. But there's one thing, you must make my bed well every day. You must shake my bed out until all the feathers fly, and the people in the world below think that it's snowing, for my name is Mother Holla." So this she did. The girl stayed, and she didn't have to work too hard. She was never scolded. She lived off the fat of the land, and she had a happy life. But after some years she started to get sad. She wasn't quite sure why, but she realised soon that she was actually homesick. And she went to the old woman. She said, "My life here is 1,000 times better than it ever was at home. But I feel like I am homesick. I need to be with my own people." So the old woman said, "Well, that pleases me that you're requesting to go home, and I'll take you there myself. I'll show you the way." So she took her to a doorway, and she gave her the spindle back that she'd lost originally down the well. And she thanked her for all her hard work. Just as she was about to go through this open door, a shower of gold rained down upon the girl, and she was covered in gold, absolutely covered. She walked through the open door, and said their goodbyes, and she was back at home. And the old cockerel that used to sit on the stone wall outside the house called out, "Click, clock, clack, the golden maid is back." She went to her stepmother and stepsister and told them what had happened. And of course, as you can imagine, the stepmother wanted the same for her own daughter. So she said, you go and prick yourself on the spindle, put it in the well and go into the well. I want some of that gold. So she was too lazy to do any spinning. So she just stuck her hand into a thorn bush until it bled, threw the spindle down the well, and down she went. She too lost consciousness, and she woke up in the same meadow, and she knew what to expect because her stepsister had told her everything. So she walked through the meadow, she saw the baker's oven, and the bread called out to her saying, let me out, I'm going to burn in here. She said, I'm not going to dirty myself getting you out. She carried on, shaking her head. She walked further, and of course she came to the apple tree, and the apple tree called out to her, shake me, all my apples are ripe. She said, I'm not going to come and shake you, one of those apples might fall on my head. And she walked on, and then she came to the cottage, and the old woman was there, but she wasn't frightened because she knew what to expect, that she looked unusual. And straight away she agreed to work for her in the same way. She agreed to shake the covers of her bed out until all the feathers flew, so that the people down on in the world below would think it was snowing. And this she did for the first day. She forced herself to work hard because she'd never done a hard day's work in her life. Second day, she didn't really shake the bed out that well. She was a little bit lazy. And the third day, she just stayed in bed. She did absolutely nothing at all. And the old woman was cross. She dismissed her. She said, you'll have to go home. So the girl didn't care because she thought, well, this is where I get my share of gold. I don't care. So they walked to the open doorway. The woman gave her the spindle back. And instead of a shower of gold, she had a shower of tar all over her, stuck to her everywhere. She walked through the open door. Again, she came to the yard, and the old cockerel said, cock-a-doodle-doo, your dirty maids come back to you. She tried to wash that tar off every day for the rest of her life. She couldn't remove any of it. That's the end. Loads of times.
But it's the first time in a group.
In a group, yeah, it's really is.
And how do you feel?
Good, actually. I think I remembered everything as well. I felt a bit more like I could put a bit more expression into it. Because all the rest in the room, I thought they expressed really well. But I was so intent on remembering it. I didn't feel I was expressing well, but I think I managed to put a little bit in.
Oh, it was fabulous.
So,
yeah.
Felt a bit more relaxed.
And do you know where the story comes from?
It's I know that Mother Holla is it's in the Grimm's book of tales. It's a German.
And when did you first
story.
come across that?
Just yesterday. Never heard of it before, but apparently Jess said it's quite a well-known story. I'd never heard of it.
Wow.
No.
That's amazing that you learnt that story yesterday and you're telling it here.